We all know the LS 400s are absolute tanks, super reliable. But even a tank has a lifespan, and these are starting to show their age, starting to catch up with them. Let's find out what's wrong with this LS 400. Let's get started. This is a 1995 Lexus LS 400. It is in very good shape. I've seen a lot of these that aren't so good, but this one's really nice. But even if you buy a perfect example today in excellent shape, you can't change the fact that they're 30 years old. Even the most reliable cars on earth, just like a human being, start to decline when they get age. We can't stop time. We can't stop aging. This one is starting to show that it's 30 years old. This one came in for a few small complaints, a power steering groaning noise, possibly an automatic transmission leak that they might be seeing, and a few other small things like the seatbelt pretensioners are getting kind of slow. That's from age. But we found even more than what was on the list for the customer. I want to take a look around and show you the extra things we found and how I've actually had customers tell me when I've found other things wrong with the car other than what was on the complaint list. I've actually had customers say, I didn't bring it here for that. I don't want to talk about that. We're going to show you the things we found cannot be ignored. So let's take a look at this pearl white LS 400. Take a look around it. Don't you love the front ends of these LS 400s, Mrs. Wizard?
It reminds me of my college days.
They are. Even today, they're really timeless in their design. They look great, even in 2025. They just don't make cars like this anymore. They have the awesome styling. It's got some nice 16s on it, Lexus OEM wheels. We do have the nice two-tone with kind of a silvery gray on the bottom. One concern they have is this antenna is floppy, and very likely this grommet has failed. It could possibly let water in, so we'll look into getting that replaced. But around the back, you can see it has a Mercedes-ish look to it. That was what their market they were after, is the Mercedes-Benz European market. And you can see down this side is very nice, except for right here we see some paint has been scraped or chipped. And the customer asked us to take care of that, but we do not do paint and body work here. That's why body shops exist. Unfortunately, they'll have to take it somewhere else for that. Here's our 1UZ FE 4-liter V8 4-cam, it says on the valve covers.
Oh, the 90s where they tried to fill every ounce of an engine bay with hoses and whatnot.
One thing, talking about hoses, Mrs. Wizard is right. We see one already. It's been broken for a while and just kind of hanging out there. That could make it run a little bit rough, a vacuum leak. These aren't necessarily hard to work on, but as you can see, these covers, just like most Toyotas in the 90s and early 2000s, that has timing belts. This one's getting to the age again where it's about time for a timing belt, but we do have proof that it's been done in the past. Let me show you. So it was replaced right before Christmas in 2013 at 55,000 miles. It had the timing belt job done. So make sure when you get a timing belt or a timing chain job done that they annotate it inside the engine bay on some sort of decal or sticker that shows when it was done, the miles, and the date. So that when the question comes up in the future, has this been done, the answer is right there in the engine bay, yes. Most vehicles have a timing belt range of anywhere from 80 to 105, 110,000 miles. Or, and here's the thing that gets people hung up, or 10 years. So even if you only put 2,000 miles on it in 10 years, it's still time for a timing belt, because whether you drive it or not, the timing belt, the rubber on the timing belt ages and it can still snap. This one was done 13 years ago. It is definitely time. We'll let the customer know, say, hey, if you feel confident you want to keep driving it, that's your choice. We recommend a timing belt, but we'll see what they want to do. But one thing I noticed with the power steering groaning noise, and by the way, Danielson checked this over, did a very fine job. We also found that the supposed automatic transmission leak is not the transmission at all. Take a look at the power steering pump, guys. We can see this pump itself is coated in red oil, and it's literally spraying all the bottom of the vehicle. So we definitely want to check the power steering fluid level since we see a leak. Let's see if it registers on the dipstick. Nothing. Not even a drop. Take a look, guys. You can kind of see a reflection of the fluid down in there. It's very, very low. So there explains our groaning noise. It's getting aeration in the system because the fluid is low, and also air is probably getting into the system where it's leaking. Some vehicles use red transmission fluid as their power steering fluid, which is totally fine if it's specified for that. Other vehicles have clear power steering fluid. Some have green power steering fluid. You really need to look up the specifications for your vehicle. Let's see what it says on the dipstick. I've worked on cars where a friend or a customer has looked at the power steering fluid and they see red fluid and they go, obviously it's not supposed to have red fluid. It's supposed to have power steering fluid. So we know right off the bat the customer has put the wrong fluid in there. Wrong. Let's look at the power steering cap. Power steering fluid. Use Dexron type automatic transmission fluid. We have, without a doubt, proof it's supposed to be red transmission fluid in the power steering pump. Really, in the reality of things, until you get into the 2015s and newer where they're using fancy weird fluids and stuff, if you put red fluid where there's supposed to be clear fluid, it will hurt nothing. It really won't hurt anything. Hydraulic fluid, that's all it is. Power steering fluid is hydraulic fluid. Transmission fluid is just hydraulic fluid. It's basically all it is, with a few little additives and things. So there's our groaning noise, there's our leak. Nothing else is really going on in the engine bay. The interiors on these cars are amazing. They really did a good job on these. Are you guys ready to take a trip back to 1995 when they were actually building nice interiors? Take it away, Mrs. Wizard.
Okay, ladies and gents, 108,217. This thing is a baby in the world of Lexus Toyota. It's barely broken in. But let me go ahead and take my hand off the light and turn off the key. Take it out. Yep, we've got easy out and I guessed it the other way. The other thing that's interesting is the key itself. They're trying for that European style with this kind of a key, because the last time I saw one of these was probably on a Jag. So they're definitely trying to get that European look. But as we look at our dash, isn't that beautiful? Just a nice view of sand up there. No brakes, nothing going on. As we get to our center section, you see we've got our controls for HVAC, we've got our radio controls, and they have the door open to their cigarette lighter ashtray so they can have a little charge spot right there for their phone attached to that vent. And wow, doesn't this look Mercedes with this gated automatic gear selector? Oh yeah, that just screams Mercedes. But if we look beyond that, we can see we have some nice wood accents on that lower section as well. All looking good, not cracked, not broken. We do have a little bit of wear here because this is where that driver's elbow goes. But again, this is 30 years old and that's all the damage we have. We lift up, we've got a map of Kansas, and we've got our sunglasses case. This is the era of sofas, and this seat is very comfortable. The ivory leather is not broken, and it looks like it's in very, very good shape. Door card has also some more of that taupe on top, ivory on the bottom, with wood accents, where we are able to operate our door lock and our window controls. And our back seat. Doesn't this look new? Yeah. Pristine back there. No kids with Cheerios back there. Nothing going on. Everything's looking good. Look at this carpet even. Looking fabulous. As we look at our headliner, no, your screen has not gone all white. No, it is that pristine. We do have a nice, lovely moonroof, and you can see the roof of our shop up there. Since it's 1995 when they built this lovely beast, there is no controls here, no cruise control, nothing. We just have the horn for the whole thing. But we do have controls for our cruise control on the back, and we have controls for obviously our turn signals behind that as well. So enough of this interior talk. I'm curious what we're going to find on the underneath.
So here we are underneath this nice LS 400. Most of it's in really good shape. Here's our radiator. You can clearly see the bottom of it. There's no coolant leaks or anything going on. Here's our transmission cooler lines, which they're dry. They're not leaking any red fluid. Here's the front of the engine, which you could get to very easily down here to do a serpentine belt or fan or whatever. We do see some leak going on right here, which we mentioned from up above. We saw a power steering leak. And there we are. Lots of red fluid everywhere. So it's definitely our red fluid leak, our power steering noise. Everything is right in this area with the power steering pump. So our oil pan is nice and dry, nothing going on there. Let's check these wheels up front. The brakes are about 60% remaining. It's got fairly new struts up front. Sway bar links are good. Nothing loose there. Nothing's leaking from the steering rack. New struts over here. Sway bar link is not loose. Brakes are 60%. Everything looks good there. We come back to our transmission where the customer was concerned there may be transmission leaks. You can see it's like the Sahara Desert. Not a drop anywhere. So we have no transmission leaks, so that's good. So the market for these cars was going after Mercedes-Benz or BMW, mainly Mercedes. There is some technology on these that they kind of copied. Let me show you the flex disc. Where a lot of cars have U-joints. European cars have been using flex discs for a long time. This one's in good shape. Nothing loose there, nothing leaking. Here's a little chamber here that kind of does like a J shape, zigzag, and it goes back to two, splits into two mufflers. Here's our girthy shaft. I do see a crack right there. Look at that, guys. We'll definitely let them know about that. The brakes are about 70% in the back. The CV boots are good, but the shock is not. The strut, I should say. Watch this, guys. It's leaking, it's blown out. So that strut is no good. And there's something that Danielson found that wasn't even on the complaint list. I don't know how or why, but this is pretty bad. Watch this. So this little, kind of like a tie rod, it's kind of a locating arm right here. The ball joint or the tie rod end, kind of a looking piece there is loose, watch. But wait, there's more. These brakes are good, CV boots are good. This strut is blown as well. Got oil just pouring out of this one and collecting dirt. And as you can imagine, same story over here. It's not as bad, but it's still very loose. I don't know how they weren't having a vibration or these things wobbling around while they're going down the road, but that is dangerous, especially on the driver's side. That could vibrate and actually come loose. So, two struts in the back and two of these little control arms, I'm not sure what you call them, locating arms. That wasn't on the list. There has been some knowledge in the past of irregular wear patterns. We can see this tire's been replaced. Let's look at the date code. 43rd week of 2023, and it has very nice thick tread. So they've replaced that one, but not this one. It's from 05-19, so back in 2019, and the inner edge of this tire is wearing very thin. That makes total sense because I just showed you how loose they are. They're dangerously loose, and it's improperly wearing the tire. That explains why they've replaced one of the tires already. I don't know why it wasn't addressed, but it will be this time. Let's get this thing back on the ground. This is definitely one of the areas that can be misleading as a shop or shop owner when you take on a car and the customer has complaints, transmission fluids leaking, some vibrations, things going on possibly in the back, only to find out there is transmission fluid leaking, but it's not from the transmission. It's the power steering pump that's leaking. It's also causing the noise. And with the back end going on, the shaking and stuff, it's very likely, obviously, how loose they are is the problem. They've already replaced the tire. Who knows what they thought it could be, but they didn't address the problem to keep it from improperly wearing the tire. So like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I've had customers where they came in for one or two problems, but we always do a quick inspection of the entire vehicle because we live in a litigious society where people love to sue. So we check everything over because you never know when something could be wrong that could hurt someone. This customer has had no trouble. We have no trouble with them at all. But I've had customers in the past where we'll say, hey, you know, your back tires are, the thing is shaking like crazy. It could come loose. And they will cut me short and say, I didn't bring it here for that. Stop trying to run up the bill. Bro, it's not about the bill. It's about whether you could crash or not. And I've had people say, I'm not fixing that. I'm not doing that. I didn't bring it here for that. That'll be another day. We definitely put it in writing on the bill that we found what was wrong. It's a safety concern. The customer said not having it, not fixing it. Obviously, I don't think that's going to be a problem here, but I'm just letting you know I've been through that a few times. It's crazy. You're just like, what? But anyways, it is what it is. It's their car. You can only fix what they allow you to fix. The last concern is the customer thinks at 20, 30, 40 mile an hour range, the speedometer needle is doing some weird stuff. They said it could possibly be the speedometer cable that's going bad or something's jumping. I know better than that. Here's a picture of the instrument cluster, the back of one. Do you see a hookup for a speedometer cable? Nope. This ain't 1972. This is electronic. It has a speed sensor that tells the computer how fast it's going. The computer tells the cluster to move a motor, an electric motor, a stepper motor. It's very likely that it needs to be sent off to be rebuilt or possibly just replaced with a good used unit. We'll see what the customer wants to do. It has nothing to do with the speedometer cable. That doesn't even exist on this car. Be careful when you're out there telling the mechanic what you think is wrong with your car, because we're an honest shop, but the one you're dealing with may not be. They might say, oh, okay, we'll put a new speedometer cable in for you. It's going to be $300. And it doesn't even have a speedometer cable. Be careful about that, guys. You really need to watch it. Let them tell you what's wrong with the car. Don't tell them what's wrong with your car. If you're in the market of saving money, like when this antenna is kind of floppy here, you could put one of those aftermarket stubby little antennas and get you by for a little while. It's not very expensive. But this is a power antenna, and the customer wants to retain all the functionality. They want it to be like stock. So that could be more expensive. It's going to cost more money, but that's what they want. Also, like with the speedometer issue, it's working. It just has a little weird wiggle going on between 30 and 40. I would likely not mess with it. If it were to die, there are apps you can buy or download and put on your phone. It'll tell you how fast you're going, so at least you know how fast you're going until you can get it fixed. Or you can just go by that altogether. It's depending on what you want to do. These have always been known as tanks. Absolutely reliable, bulletproof. But like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, age takes its toll on everything on Earth. Everything. These are no exception. They're starting to get to the point where they're 30, 35, 25, somewhere in that range, years old. There's another issue going on with these as well. Parts are drying up. One of my buddies, Jake from 100% Jake, used to have one of these, and he had to get rid of it because every time he needed this or that, discontinued, not in production anymore, parts are gone. He finally got tired of it and got rid of it. But there are some parts on these that, if you can get them, they cost double what you would expect it would, because they know what they got. That old saying, I know what I got. You know, like on Facebook, we joke about that. They do know what they got. And they're going to charge you for it. If you don't want to pay it, don't fix it. You don't have to. Just letting you know, these are awesome cars. I wouldn't mind having one today. I just would know in the back of my mind, parts might be tough to get. They're probably going to cost more than you would expect. They're still very serviceable, very nice cars. But there is an end to everything. 30 years from now, it'll probably cost more to fix than this whole car is worth, and a lot of these may go to the junkyard, sadly. That's just how it goes with cars. They're currently still good. I still recommend them, but it's getting close to the line where it may not be anymore. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to work on this LS400 or any other car in the shop, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. A lot of the tools we use in the shop are for sale there. And we really appreciate it if you purchase anything there. We get a small cut. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's tons more videos waiting for you guys. Thanks for watching.